Hello everyone, my name is Priska Oserale, the lead instructor at Gold Imperial Academy and the creative director at Gold Imperial Bespoke. Thank you so much for joining us on today's tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to create the off-shoulder pattern from our basic bodice pattern. Right here before me, I have my basic bodice pattern drafted and traced out. Okay, as a rule, you should have your master pattern for your clients. Then each time you want to design for them, you can just trace out from your master pattern and then design. So that is what I have done, and this is my pattern. I am using the pattern that has the shoulder dart. Okay, so let's get into this. Before we continue, if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please do so, and don't forget to like this video and also share with your friends. So let's get into this. Now, the concept of off-shoulder means that you are going to be removing from your shoulder. Depending on how off you want it to be, you can come down your armhole by 1 inch or 2 inches or 3 inches. So this is what I am talking about. All right, so this is your basic bodice. Now you can come down by 1 inch from your shoulder point. This is your shoulder point, this is your neck point. All right, so you can come down your shoulder point by 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. You can do 1.5. Now it just depends on how off you want your top to be. Okay, so let's do 2 inches. So I'm going to come down by 2 inches on this bodice. Okay, I haven't contoured, I haven't done anything. I'm just showing you how to apply the concept of the off shoulder. So this is it. I'll just come down. Okay, now for this client, because this is actually a client's basic bodice, for this client I'm going to be doing 2 inches at the most. Okay, I can do 1.5 or 2 inches at the most because I don't want it to be so low. I have also applied the off-shoulder concept in this dress that you'll be seeing right now, although for this design I applied 2 concepts. Okay, but the off-shoulder concept came in. You can see the neckline of the dress. Okay, now for my armhole, if I'm doing 2 inches at the front, then I also have to do 2 inches at the back and also do the same 2 inches on my sleeve. Right now I am focusing on the front block. So I said that for this client I would like to do 2 inches. Okay, so I've marked my 2 inches right there. So this is 2 inches. I'm coming down by 2 inches. You can do 1 inch if you don't want it to be too off. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to contour this block before I design the neckline. This is my across chest line, the bust line, the true bust line, the waistline, and the lower waistline. Okay, now because when I was drafting, my true bust line was above my bust line, so I had to do a little bit of manipulation here so that I can have my true bust line at the right place where it has to be. So I'm going to be separating this pattern now so that I can close this point and move my across chest upward a bit. Crease this line right here and then close it like so, and then I'll redraw my shoulder dart. So let me quickly do that now. Here is my pattern. I have closed the across chest line like I said, and I have also redrawn my shoulder dart. Sometimes you may also have to redraw your armhole if it is affected. If yours is affected, you can redraw your armhole. So now I'm going to go and contour this because this is going to be a fitted garment. Okay, when we are contouring, what we are doing in essence is removing the excess on our bodies, that is between the bust and the under bust. So that is what I'm going to be doing now by removing the excess. So The on the bust line of my client is 12.5, so I'm going to mark that out now, and that is where I'm going to be doing my contouring. So now I have marked out my under bust line, so I'm just going to label it as UDB, and then I'm also going to transfer this center front dart to the waist dart. Okay, so this is 1 cm. I'm going to be sharing a 0.5 cm on both lines. You can do this before you mark out your under bust line, okay, but if you forget, it's still fine. Just go ahead and mark it out as I am doing, and then reconnect to your dart point right there. Okay, so here it is. So the next thing now will be to remove the excess on my under bust line. So that is what I'm going to be doing now. So whatever your excess is, you mark that out and then connect it to your true bust line. All right. Okay. A detailed class on this is available on our basic bodice online and offline courses. Okay. So now I'm going ahead and I'm connecting this back to my waistline. So the next thing I'm going to do will also be to tighten my across chest. Remember, we closed this point, so this is now my new across chest. Okay, so I want to tighten this point because you remember it is off shoulder. That means there'll be nothing above. Okay, so we really need our garment to be well fitted and very close to the body. So because of that, I'm going to be tightening my across chest, or you can increase your dart on your shoulder line. Some people call it the over bust tightening. Some people call it the gape dart, that is removing some excess so that your bodice does not gape. Whatever you call it is fine. For this dress, I'm going to be increasing the value of my dart. I've marked that out on my shoulder line. I have connected it to my true bust line. The next thing now will now be to draw out my curve. Okay, so you draw out a curve. All right, it shouldn't be pointy, okay, because the way you draft your pattern is the same way you have it on your garment. It should not be pointy. You can use your French curve or your curve ruler to draw out your curve. Okay, that is to remove the pointy part of that portion. Okay, and then you can now use your free hand to smoothen out the curve. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to close this dart so that I can draw out my neckline. To do that, I'll just slash open the dart line because I'm going to be cutting it anyways. Okay, so I'll slash it open and then crease my dart, that is the shoulder dart, and then I will be able to close the dart, crease all the way to the true bust line, and then I'll be able to close this. Okay, so if this were to have a shoulder, all right, you can see that this point is already distorted, so I'll need to fill up that spot right there. But because it's not going to have a shoulder, all I'm just going to do is to close it. Okay, so I'm now going to draw out my neckline. Now remember that I said I have come down by 2 inches on my armhole. Okay, so you can do 1, you can do 1.5, you can do 2, you can do 3. It actually depends on how off you want it really. So for this, you can now decide the kind of neckline that you want. You can either do like a sweetheart neckline if you want that. You can do a round neckline if you want that. You can do a V. Okay, just place your ruler and then draw your V. Okay, as a rule, you need to know that the lower you go, the more cleavage you reveal. So you need to ask your client if she likes her cleavage being revealed. If not, you need to be careful how low you go. So for my client, she does not like her cleavage to be revealed, so I'm just going to do this not too low. For this, I'm going to be drawing a curved neckline. So to do that, I'll come down by 2 inches. Okay, you can do 3 inches if you want. Okay, so before I draw my neckline, I'll just draw a straight line. Okay, all right, then place your curve ruler and then draw your curve into that straight line. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, so that is it. So all this goes away. Okay, all this will go away, so this becomes your off shoulder. So you can see the shape is already being shown. Okay, so you can now cut out your pattern pieces and then place on your fabric and cut. Okay, so I have decided to do a little bit of designing to my pattern, so I made a few adjustments as well. I have used 1 inch as against the 2 inches I wanted to use earlier, so I'm using 1 inch, and I have also mirrored my pattern. That is, I have a full front pattern, so I would just like to put a little bit of design to my pattern. So since I have this, okay, all I just did was to trace out what I have on a different paper and then stick it together to give me my full pattern. And in order to trace out all that I have on the front pattern to the mirrored part, I just folded it and trace out all that I have on it. So I'm also going to trace out the neckline. I'm still using the round neckline like I mentioned earlier, and I have drawn it out. So I'm going to trace this so that it can reflect on the mirrored part before I now go ahead to add the design that I want to add. I have done this just for the sake of accuracy, okay, so that what you have on the right is what you have on the left. So after tracing it out, just open it up and then you can now pencil that out. So I'm just going to bring this way, okay, just to give it a little bit of, okay, so I'll just bring this like this. Okay, so just smoothen it. All right, smoothen it the way you want it to be. All right, so this is the design that my bodice is going to be having. I'm going to now separate all of these, and this is what I'll be placing on my fabric to cut. Okay, so that is it. So that is how to apply the concept of your off shoulder. Okay, like I said earlier, off shoulder simply means that you're going to be doing without the shoulder. Okay, so that means your bodice is not going to be having the shoulder part of the bodice. I'm now going to go ahead and cut this on fabric and then make it for my client. So for the sake of uniformity, I'm going to be cutting this, okay, like so that I'll have the same thing. Okay, I added my seam allowance already to the armhole. I like to do that on my pattern. Okay, so now I can open up and now cut out the design. All right, so for the back, all I'll just do is to also come down by 1 inch, just the same way I've done for the front, and then I'll use my curve ruler to draw that. I can use my cross back as a guideline, okay, but if you don't want it to be that low, you can just rule a line and then connect. So all I'll just do is this and I'm done. So since I'm not going to be having any asymmetric design here, I'm just going to leave this. So all I'll do will now be to draw out, I like to draw out my seam allowance on my armhole. Okay, so I'm just going to do that and then go ahead and cut on fabric. I also add my seam allowance to the zipper side, okay, and then put my cutting instructions and my grain lines on all of my pattern, including the front and the back. I hope you found this useful. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And also turn on the notification so you always get notified whenever we post new videos. We appreciate you for joining us today. Spread the good word. Tell others about Golden Pearl Academy. If you need to contact us for any of our trainings, please check the description box. The link to chat with us directly will be posted in the description box. So till we come your way again, my name is Priska Oserale. Take care of yourself. Bye.